I want to welcome you back to Black Site tonight. We're going to talk about Congressman Cory Mills of Florida basically saying when this is investigated, the Trump assassination, they should look and see if this was a setup or it was intentional. First, I would like for you to subscribe to this channel, hit that like button, hit that notification button, but also comment on this video. Here's the interview with Cory Mills on CNN this morning, basically saying that this could be intentional, this could be a setup.
Things, and I look at different videos where an assailant will pull a firearm on a law enforcement officer, and the first thing they do is they immediately pull and draw and mitigate the threat and the risk. And I ask why the local law enforcement officer did not do so. The other thing is that when you set up an advanced team, I keep hearing this about the perimeter elements.
Yeah.
You know, the perimeter is actually established by your threats that are in the area. So if I don't have any threats outside of 100 yards, okay, fine, I can cordon off a certain area. But if I have a building 160 yards, perfectly adjacent to the stage, that's an obvious threat, especially with an elevated position that has overwatch. That's a sniper's paradise. And you know, we talk about Eagle's Nest. You also have, as no one talks about, but the water tower.
So what I'm hearing from you is it's not a failure on the ground for sure, but also a failure in advance?
I think it's a failure in advance. I think it's a failure to have the counter snipers to be able to establish their range fan and their sketch maps.
I also heard we also learned that local snipers were stationed inside that building.
I haven't heard that piece of it yet, but that doesn't necessarily make sense unless they're actually in a window which was backed off, because a lot of times you get yourself in there. Sometimes you expose your rifle in a way to try and do a force protection or a show of force that actually stops things. Others are actually more tactical where they'll sit back a little bit, but a sniper for law enforcement is only trained to shoot about 75 yards, unlike your kind of sniper teams that are on sunset. But here's my problem. In having done this for so long, and they always say the adage of ignorance is bliss, and I think that's true. I've done thousands of advances. I've done thousands of counter-sniper operations with our teams in Iraq and Afghanistan, etc. The amount of negligence, the amount of mistakes that was made here, I have a very difficult time not leaning myself towards this was intentional as opposed to fecklessness.
Well, wait, talk to me about that. I actually heard you say this right the day after, which I wanted to ask you about. What do you mean intentional?
You know,
I mean an intentional failure on the part of...
No, I wouldn't say an intentional failure on the part of, but I gotta just, I sit here and I scratch my head. You don't want to be the conspiracist. You don't want to be the person.
I'm telling you, because that's what it's leaning to.
No, I know, and that's the issue, is that you walk this fine balance of, you're not trying to be a conspiracist, but you look at it and you go, how could this have gone so...
But it's one thing if someone on the street says it. It's not, I mean, you, Cory Mills, member of Congress, former sniper, you saying it, I mean, it makes my eyebrows go up. When you say you're walking the line on this, intentional what?
You know, it almost seems to me, I think that an investigation is necessary at this point within Congress, not just the FBI, not just others. You know, I look back at it and I'm thinking, all right, for an individual, if you looked at the escalations and how they are trying to approach him, let's just say that it was like, okay, first we want to censor and silence you, then we want to indict and imprison you, now we're attempting to kill you and take you off the stage.
Let's slow down.
Please.
I'm hearing two things from you. I don't want to jump ahead of things, but I'm also hearing you jumping ahead of things.
Well, actually, I'm just looking at all the different possible capabilities. You know, one of the things as a military member, one of the things as a person who's running the special operations communities before, one of the people who's actually done this is that you look at all potential analysis, right?
Donald Trump and his team have said, do not,
no, I agree.
Dial it back. Do not blame this on Joe Biden.
Oh, well, actually, I didn't say Joe Biden, to be completely...
Who's the they then? Let's be very specific.
Well, that's what the investigations do. Was it local law enforcement that had made mistakes, or was there something to it? Was there other types of things that we need to be analyzing or looking at and providing analysis? My point is that when something's so significant, you're talking about something that hasn't happened in decades, right?
I totally...
But my point is this. From a perspective of someone who's actually conducted these are not difficult advances. This is not like I'm putting together a stage placement and a tight shot. This is about looking at your surroundings. What is my green, yellow, and red route, which is your routes out in case? What is my actual elements that I need to be looking at as far as mitigating threats or risks or increased levels? Where's my range fan for the sniper that says, okay, here's my 100, my 200, my sketch. Here's an area where someone could shoot. Because here's my thing.
So you're
Let's
saying,
just say it's a voice element.
You're saying this is so basic that how big the screw up was, that's what's leading your brain down
That's
this road.
exactly right, in a way. But because here's the other thing. Let's just say
Tom Emmer
it's
was just
research.
on. Tom Emmer was just on with me, and he said very specifically to me, I wrote it down. He said very clearly, it is too early to be talking about who is at fault and who is responsible.
That's why an investigation is necessary.
Is it not dangerous? Is it not reckless to even be throwing around the word intentionally?
So to question things as we do an investigation is recklessness, because at that point, then should we never question anything? My point is this. So let me ask a simple question.
I'm not trying to
Let me
be,
just ask.
I'm not trying to be PC. My point is, in the political environment that we're in.
What would it have taken, right? Let's just say that resources was limited. Let's go with that as a reasoning. So how many times have you seen where they just put a police car inside of a parking lot with not an officer in it and just leave the lights on as a deterrent? Why couldn't that have been a simple thing that was placed in? Why couldn't we have said to the owner of the actual AGR company, hey, look, we don't want to disrupt your business, but we also want to make sure your parking lot is clear of people trying to park in there for the rally. Why don't we place an officer there? My point is that this was too easy of a solution. And when I think about 160
I'm just so uncomfortable with even having.
I'm uncomfortable with having to say it. Trust me, my whole point is that I would like to look at this and say, where was the mistake made? How can we correct it in the future? Why was this actually done? But I think that this does warrant a J13 type commission where we can actually look at it and say, let's investigate and find out why this happened so it doesn't happen anymore. This is not about a political thing. This is about we had an attempt to assassinate a president. We really need to understand what a serious matter this is. And this was a milliseconds or millimeter difference between this being an attempt and this being an assassination. And I can tell you, at 160 yards, okay, just to give you an idea, your off-the-shelf rifle shoots what they call 1 minute of angle at every 100-yard line. So at 100, it's 1 inch. 200, 2 inches, etc. So now you're talking about 1.6-inch grouping capability of a rifle off a manufacturing line. Your average human being, because we used to do this in nursing and sniper training, you're 20 inches shoulder to shoulder, 40 inches head to waist, and you're 6'8" in your average head size. These are kind of the dimensions that you look at as an average. You're talking about a 1.6-inch grouping for multiple shots on a basic rifle. We're blessed, and I do believe in divine intervention, so I am a person of faith. I can't explain one. I hope that it was a corrugated roof and maybe he slipped off on one of the edges of the corrugated roof or he was rushed, but the whole thing I think just needs to have a better explanation so that the American people and everyone can feel comfortable.
And I think that's why people are saying pump the brakes, because we've seen conspiracy theories, honestly, on the right and the left. I just had Joni O'Sullivan on, that it's already going like wildfire. This is the kind of political environment that they're saying it's too hot and people are jumping to too many conclusions.
Well,
That's why I am so
As a
uncomfortable.
military member, one of the things that we do is we what if scenario everything in the world, right? That's
I
how
know, but I don't know. I'm just
So
saying,
when
if
I
it's
look at
the what if
what-ifs-
that you talk about maybe in an investigation, and the what if that you are
In this whole thing, you got to be careful about who running an investigation. There was an investigation of JFK when he was killed in Dealey Plaza, and we know that the person they said that shot JFK wasn't that person. We know that the lies that they make up were who killed MLK, Lee Harvey Oswald. We know that this government is capable of covering up their malfeasance. And this is what Cory Mills is saying. He said it doesn't take a brain surgeon to know when something is wrong. And basically, I'm going to say the end of this. Colonel Poultney said, when simple procedures are not followed, this shows a sign of a conspiracy. And I'm just going to leave it at that. And I would love to hear your comments in the comments section, because to me, this is an easy one. I want to thank you for listening to BLACKSITE. Hope you subscribe to this channel, smash that like button, but also share this video.